I'm going to tell you about one of the most horrific crimes one could ever imagine. The victim in this matter, she was brutally raped and stabbed. So severely stabbed that the blade of the knife entered through her chest cavity and right into one of her lungs. When the police and paramedics arrived, they found the victim lying in her bed, left for dead. There was blood everywhere. As a matter of fact, gurgling bubbles were emitting from her sucking chest wound. At least that's what the 12 jurors heard at my client's jury trial while the district attorney gave his opening statements. But here's the rest of the story. I do understand how law enforcement was obviously disgusted with this crime scene. Seeing the victim the way she was, she described the suspect as a male black, last seen running through her rear sliding glass door. And that's all they knew. Incriminating evidence against my client. Number one, it was his seminal fluid that was inside her. However, there was no evidence of forced trauma, even in consensual sex. Microscopically, through a forensic examination at the doctor's office, there's going to be some evidence of a little bit of tear in there. And based on the story that she gave, this forced, brutal rape, there wasn't even the slight microscopic tears in the walls. The other incriminating issue with my client was he ran. He ran from the scene. But then again, would you stick around with that type of evidence placed against you? He did run, and he did make the calls as he did so that she can get medical aid. I had to go to the police station and pick up some more discovery and also view some of the physical evidence. The officer that met me was actually the chief homicide investigator on this case. I didn't say much to him about my investigation, but he did want me to know that it was impossible for this alleged victim to stab herself. Obviously, I beg to differ because the experts would tell differently, not to mention the fact that many people have committed suicide by stabbing themselves. Through my exhaustive investigation, I was able to locate a couple places of employment where the alleged victim formerly worked at. As a matter of fact, behind me up high in the sky is a tall skyscraper where she dated actually several individuals on different floors throughout the skyscraper. Two of them actually gave me a statement. They said that when they broke up with the victim in this matter, she became a fatal attraction, she feloniously stalked them, she left messages on their voicemails, and she even stabbed the tires of one car and slashed all 4 tires of the other ex-boyfriend's car. Let's go to another location where she used to work at. Behind me is another location where the alleged victim used to work. This one, however, is in a different city. I interviewed a female colleague who the victim used to work with, and the colleague had told me that one time she walked into the ladies' restroom and she caught the alleged victim, whom she worked with, rolling up her sleeves and taking a small pocket knife and putting little bloody prick marks on the inside of her forearm. She told me that she frequently would become extremely emotionally unstable over distraught breakups with boyfriends. We spoke about the consensual sexual encounter between the alleged victim and my client. What provoked her to such a wrath was right afterwards they engaged in an argument and then he broke up with her. And he did not know about her fatal attraction with other men that I was able to prove through my investigation. And that's when she went crazy. The only thing that I did not complete in this investigation was to actually get an interview, a statement from the alleged victim in this matter. But the district attorney called my office and advised me that he did not want me talking to her because she refused. You see, if we tell the truth yesterday, we don't have to remember what to say today because the truth never changes. And as I conducted this investigation, it came very obvious that her lies kept growing and growing and growing, and there was a pattern of violence through stabbing, slashing, cutting, and doing all kinds of forms of violence against other men and even herself. And now the verdict is in. After the jury deliberation, the court clerk announced that the verdict is in, and behind me is the courthouse, ladies and gentlemen, and the charges against my client, the remaining last charge of attempt murder, and the verdict is not guilty. Until we meet again.
I'll be back.